Imagine someone snatching away the only way a disabled person can move, all because it's an eyesore. That's exactly what happened to me when the HOA president at our upscale Denver community confiscated my wheelchair, leaving me stranded, dragging myself across a marble lobby while onlookers stood frozen. What would you do in my shoes? I'm Ethan Carter, a 35-year-old software engineer living in Crestview Heights, a gated, luxury community that promised modern amenities and inclusion. 5 years ago, a rock climbing accident left me paralyzed from the waist down, shattering my independence, hobbies, and hope. It was the lowest point of my life, until I met my wife, Olivia. Olivia isn't just my soulmate, she's a Paralympic swimming champion with 3 gold medals. We met at my physical therapy center, where she volunteered. I was angry and bitter, and I pushed everyone away, but Olivia didn't flinch. During one heated session, after I snapped at her, she rolled up her pant leg, revealing her prosthetic limb. "You think you're the only one who's had to rebuild their life?" she said sharply. "I chose not to be a jerk about it." That moment flipped a switch in me. Watching her dominate in the pool, turning her challenges into strength, showed me my disability didn't have to define me. 6 months later, we were dating. 2 years after that, we were married. Olivia taught me that limitations are often just a matter of perspective. 3 months ago, we moved to Crestview Heights for its accessibility features, proximity to my tech job, and Olympic-sized pool for Olivia's training. The realtor swore it was a progressive, inclusive community. Those words were a lie. Enter Margaret Hensley, the 58-year-old HOA president, a widow who inherited a real estate fortune and seemed determined to make our lives miserable. From our first meeting, her fake smile barely hid her disdain. "This neighborhood isn't suited for people with special needs," she said, eyeing my wheelchair like it was a stain on her perfect community. I should have seen the warning signs, but the house was ideal: single level, wide doorways, roll-in shower. We'd already signed the papers and paid for custom modifications. Moving wasn't an option. The trouble started small. Margaret sent notices about petty violations. Our mailbox was half an inch too tall. Our curtains weren't an approved shade. And the temporary ramp at our door was an unauthorized modification. We complied, jumping through hoops to avoid conflict. But it was clear her real issue was my wheelchair. "Can't you use something less bulky?" she once sneered, suggesting discreet models that looked like regular chairs. I explained that my custom wheelchair, worth more than a car, was designed for my medical needs: pressure sore prevention, specialized wheels for independence, but she just walked away. Then came the day that changed everything. Last Tuesday, around 5:30 p.m., I was in the community center lobby, waiting for Olivia after her swim practice. I'd been working on a side project in the accessible computer lab and was checking emails, my wheelchair parked beside me. The lobby was calm, with just a security guard, a few residents grabbing mail, and golden sunlight streaming through the windows. Then I heard the sharp click of heels on marble. Margaret stormed in, flanked by 2 security guards, one older, grim-faced, the other, a younger guy named Ryan, visibly uneasy. "Mr. Carter," she said, her voice dripping with contempt, "your contraption is a hazard and an eyesore. It's been reported." I was stunned. "Reported? My wheelchair? This isn't a contraption," I shot back. "It's medical equipment I need to move. I'm not leaving it here, I'm using it." Margaret waved a highlighted HOA rulebook, citing some nonsense about personal mobility devices needing to be stored when not in active transit. She claimed I'd been stationary for 27 minutes, which, according to her legal counsel, counted as storage. The absurdity hit me like a punch. "I'm waiting for my wife," I argued. "This is active transit." But Margaret was unrelenting. "Take it to storage room B," she ordered the guards. "Lock it with the yellow padlock." Ryan hesitated. "Ma'am, this doesn't seem right." Margaret cut him off. Do your job, or I'll find someone who will. I gripped my wheelchair, panic rising. This is illegal under the ADA, I shouted. Margaret scoffed. Your little disability act doesn't override our bylaws. You signed the contract like everyone else. The guards, pressured by job threats, asked me to transfer to a lobby chair. I had no choice. The transfer was humiliating, awkward, unsteady, nearly falling as I struggled onto a chair not built for my needs. Then they wheeled my freedom away, down a hallway to storage, while Margaret smirked and strutted off. For 45 agonizing minutes, I sat stranded, my dignity stripped. Residents passed by, some avoiding my gaze, others looking confused but too scared of Margaret to help. One elderly woman paused, then scurried away when Margaret's office door opened briefly. I tried calling Olivia, but her phone was in her locker. I considered an Uber, but how would I get to the car? Emergency services? Would they even take this seriously? The security guard at the desk kept glancing over, guilty but silent. Then the glass doors slid open, and Olivia walked in, hair damp, gym bag slung over her shoulder. One look at me, then at the space where my wheelchair belonged, and her blue eyes turned to steel. What happened? She asked, her voice low and dangerous. I told her everything, watching fury harden her face. Olivia, a fierce disability rights advocate who's testified before Congress, was ready for war. Call David, she said, referring to our neighbor, a retired civil rights attorney. I'm getting your chair back. Olivia marched to the security desk, where a guard named Tom, who'd always been friendly, was stationed. Where's my husband's wheelchair? She demanded. Tom stammered. Storage room B, but only Miss Hensley has the key. Olivia leaned forward, palms on the desk. So you're saying my disabled husband has been separated from his medical device, and no one can fix this until tomorrow? Tom shrank back. I could lose my job. Olivia's voice was ice. And this HOA could lose millions in a federal lawsuit. Your call. Meanwhile, I reached David, who was livid. Margaret did what? I heard him grab his briefcase. I'm coming down. Within minutes, David arrived, his commanding presence filling the lobby. At 45, with silver-streaked hair and a sharp beard, he looked like a courtroom lion. This is textbook discrimination, he declared, pacing. The Fair Housing Act and ADA trump any HOA nonsense. Margaret's in deep trouble. A crowd of residents gathered, pretending to check mail but eavesdropping. Olivia seized the moment, raising her voice. My husband, a disabled American, had his wheelchair stolen by Margaret Hensley because she thinks it's ugly. Is this the community you want? Murmurs rippled through the crowd. An elderly woman, Mrs. Liu, stepped forward, trembling but resolute. She did the same to my husband's oxygen tank last year, hid it behind a bush because it was unsightly. He nearly collapsed. Others chimed in. A man fined for a shower grab bar, a mother whose autistic son was banned from the pool over his noise-canceling headphones. Margaret's reign of terror was unraveling. Then Margaret stormed back, now in a designer tennis outfit, face red with rage. This is a private matter, she snapped. David stepped forward, towering over her. No, this is a federal law violation, and you have 5 minutes to return that wheelchair before I file an ADA complaint. Margaret faltered but doubled down, threatening Mrs. Liu's pending water heater request. Mrs. Liu stood firm. Some things matter more than a water heater. Olivia moved closer, her 5 feet 10 inches athletic frame dominating the space. Where's the key? Margaret sneered. I don't answer to you. That's when Olivia snapped. I'm a Paralympic athlete who can swim 2 miles and bench press more than most men here, she whispered, her voice carrying. You have 10 seconds to hand over that key, or that storage door won't stop me, and neither will your bylaws stop a lawsuit. The lobby went silent, tension crackling. Then, a miracle, Ryan, the young guard, stepped forward, key in hand. I'm done with this. he said, handing it to Olivia. My sister uses a wheelchair. Margaret screamed. You're fired! But Ryan just shrugged. Better than being sued for discrimination. Olivia took the key and marched to the storage room B, David helping me hobble along, one arm over his shoulder. It was slow, painful, and degrading, exactly the spectacle Margaret wanted to avoid. Margaret, desperate, pulled out her phone. I'm calling the police! That wheelchair's HOA property now. David laughed. Go ahead. I'd love to explain how you stole medical equipment. In the storage room, Olivia's hands shook with rage as she unlocked the door. There was my wheelchair, surrounded by confiscated toys and a basketball, like some cruel exhibit. I sank into it, relief washing over me. It wasn't just a chair, it was my independence, my body's extension. Back in the lobby, more residents shared stories of Margaret's cruelty, fining handrails, banning service dogs, even targeting a Jewish resident's mezuzah. Then, 2 news vans pulled up, Channel 7 and Denver Today, tipped off by David. Margaret's face went white. You can't talk to the press, she shrieked. Olivia wheeled me toward the doors. Watch us. Margaret made a final, desperate move, grabbing my wheelchair. In a blur, Olivia maneuvered around her, and Margaret, off balance, stumbled into the lobby's decorative fountain with a spectacular splash. The crowd erupted in applause and laughter as she sat, soaked, mascara streaming, shrieking for help. No one moved. The police arrived, called by both sides. After reviewing resident videos, Ryan's included, showing Margaret grabbing my chair, they informed her she'd violated federal law. No arrest, but the case was sent to the DA. The news story went viral. Paralympic hero defends disabled husband against HOA tyrant. Olivia's Instagram exploded, and she used it to champion disability rights. Within a week, an emergency HOA meeting ousted Margaret by near-unanimous vote. She sold her house and fled to an HOA-free community. The new board, led by Mrs. Liu, mandated disability training and rewrote bylaws to protect residents. Ryan won a wrongful termination suit and now consults on accessibility. Olivia and I started hosting advocacy workshops, bonding with neighbors like Mrs. Liu, who brings us dumplings, and the dad whose autistic son coached Olivia's latest swim meet. This nightmare taught me that silence empowers discriminators. If I'd challenged Margaret's early slights, maybe it wouldn't have escalated. But her outrageous act, stealing my wheelchair, sparked a revolution. A note left on our door, now framed, reads, "Thank you for showing us how to stand up. We've been silent too long. The ADA isn't just a law, it's dignity. And no HOA can lock that in storage." Margaret is writing a book on HOA best practices. Good luck with that. As for us, Crestview Heights is home. The ramp's permanent, the pool's accessible, and my wheelchair rolls freely. Every time I pass that fountain, I grin. Call it petty, but I call it justice, sweet, wet justice. What do you think? Was Olivia's fountain moment a justified takedown or a step too far? Should couples tease each other to keep things lively, or does it cross a line? Share your thoughts below. We're reading every comment to see where you stand on justice and playful jabs and love.